everyone, Stephanie.
This is Emily.
And we had just finished watching Before I Fall, so we're doing a reaction video since neither of us actually read the book. So do you want to give a little premise about what the movie was about?
Yeah, so I would say, like, as a tagline, it's very close to, I guess it's a very, like, romantic tragedy retake on, like, what Groundhog Day is like. It follows the story of, I guess, like, she's 16, like, yeah, like senior year high school Sam and her little posse of three very popular, including her 4 popular girls in high school, and how they go on this particular Happy Cupid Day, which is Valentine's Day, and a little bit of how she ends up having to relive that day over and over and trying to change it, see what exactly caused the climax of the story, and kind of go from there in general.
Yeah, so the book came out like I think 2010, and I actually tried reading it back then, but I remember like I literally read like a few chapters and I gave it up the book.
Oh, okay.
I could not finish it. So when it came out in movies and theaters, I was kind of like, oh, like I don't know if I liked it. I remember distinctively like not enjoying the book. But then like people could rave about it. Like I don't know about you, but I read a lot of good reviews about the movie. So I was like, you know what? Like let's watch it together, see if it's good or not. And I have to say the movie is way better than the book. That's the way I finished the book, but
yeah, I think I also picked up the book occasionally because I do remember that the author, she got famous on this particular series, and I was like,
it was her debut novel too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because she's also well known to write like middle school grade books as well. So I picked it up for a few pages, and I realized, just like you, it was a little slow, and at the time I wasn't really interested. At that particular moment at the bookstore, I wasn't interested in going further with it. So, but yeah, I would definitely say that the movie has my thumbs up for it, just because like it definitely hashed out a lot of the details and nuances. Like, good job to the cast and like the overall screenplay, because it really captured a lot of the little snippets that mattered to why reliving that day even really counted.
And I think that sometimes like the book didn't really, like, there are all small details that it's really easy to skim over, and therefore you don't really feel that it's as relevant. Whereas the movie, you're just really engrossed in already. That's just easy for you to realize, oh, these are all the little like nuances or little details that actually play a vital role in why this became like a Groundhog Day. So
yeah, I would definitely say that watching the film itself, well, the first funny thing is that the set, right? We were like, oh my god, these are such expensive houses.
Yeah,
they have
a rich school, like public school district, I have to say.
Yeah, definitely. And they were just giving out roses, like red roses for no reason. I'm like, that's so hard to even get, like, on Valentine's Day.
I had to remind her. I was just like, oh yeah, we had that too, but we had carnations. And she was like, we had that in high school, and I was like, yeah, like every Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I guess I didn't put much.
But our public school was not as rich enough to get roses. Carnations are like $1 each or something. So
yeah. But like red roses on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Can you think of that? Like,
that's probably really expensive.
Yeah, especially for an entire school. So. That was the first thing I really noticed, and that obviously that opulence kind of like spoke to like the theme of the story kind of pretty well, I think. Yeah, because in general, like, these are all kids that have want for nothing, and
they're very still well off.
Yeah, and they're still though kind of going at each other in a very like high school manner, and I would say that the overall story did serve very well, being given from like Sam's perspective, because at first I was a little wary, because I was like, oh my god, this is going to be another one of those.
Wait, should we go into the spoiler section of the video now? Or are you trying to go into the spoilers? Or
no, I'm just talking about the character.
Alright.
Because like, I'm not talking about what happened really. It's just like, it's like basically the beginning of the story that I'm talking about. But I was a little wary and nervous about spending another hour and a half watching like a film about from a perspective of like a somewhat popular nice girl, even though she doesn't really stand up for anything.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I don't know if I really want to do this. That was really my first impression, because yeah, I mean, like, a lot of the stories I have read from that angle haven't been that impressive. So when things started to change, I was a lot more alert, and I was like, oh, okay, so that makes a little more sense. So yeah, that was one thing I particularly liked about the film, was that it happened to make it work. Like Sam wasn't as cliche or very like one-dimensional as I had initially thought this film might go.
I would say that in the beginning I was a little worried as well, because from my experience with the book, that I wasn't sure how well this movie would be portrayed, and if it would, you know, lead me to like bore to tears at the end. And I mean, there are definitely a few scenes where I found myself picking up my phone and was just kind of like texting away or something, because I lost a little bit of like, I got sidetracked a little bit. But like for the most part, like it kept me very engaged. You know, there was always something going on. There were one part in the movie where we and I were just like, oh my god, I was like, are we in the same thought right now? Like, do we know what's going on? And then we realized that we were like, you know, we actually guessed it correctly. And then so we were just like, oh my god, like, and then like it started to get like really interesting, just to see like what Sam was doing for every time she like, you know, relieved that same day over and over again, and how she went from like, you know, certain ways of approaching it to like drastically different ways of approaching it, and just to see like how she reacted to everyone and whatnot. So I thought that was definitely the most interesting aspect of this movie.
Yeah, and before we talk more in detail that could risk spoilers, I would definitely say that the biggest redeeming factor for me was just that Sam was always a character that understood she couldn't possibly change years of wrong with one day of right. And I think that was actually something that really spoke to me by the end of the film, that I was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. Good.
Yeah.
Like for once I was like, this isn't going to be a happy, maybe not like that type of happy ending where like everyone's happy, High School Musical.
But it makes sense.
Yeah.
And it kind of drew a really good conclusion.
Yeah, and that was really what kind of laid the foundation for my good review.
Yeah, so let's move on to the little spoilers aspect, because I think we just watched this, we're kind of like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So let's go over your thoughts first.
Okay, so I actually it was so funny, and I guess this also speaks to why the film was a good film. We both got like the fact that like Juliet was going to be in trouble like pretty fast right when that happened.
Yeah, like it was when it first happened, when the first accident happened. Like obviously, like if you have read this movie or you read the book, you would know that something happened, which is why Sam had to relive this day over and over again. And you don't know what happened, because it just happens instantly. You know, you're just kind of like, wait, what just happened? How did she wake up? Like, what's going on? And then once you realize that, you know, they had an accident, you're kind of like, wait, but how did this accident occur? So like as each day, as she kept living on and on, we're like, I mean, in my mind, I was just like, okay, clearly it was not like, because there was a big truck that drove by, but clearly it wasn't that, because they drove by it. So we're just like, I mean, I thought it might have been like an animal or some sort, and she thought it was like someone. And then there was this one scene where like Juliet goes running off, and we're just like, oh, I think we know what's going on.
Yeah, but I think what was funny was our reactions. Like I wouldn't tell you first. I was like, we'll see, right? Because like, what happens if you say it and
because we're both like, are we still thinking the same thing? She's like, yeah, I think so.
It was like,
and then like when it happened, we're like, yep. That's what we had expected. Yeah. And it made a lot of sense at that point. Like once you realize that was what happened, we're like, okay. And then when we thought about it later, like for previous part of the movie where there was this one day that she relived it, and she tried to avoid the whole accident period, but it still happened. Like not for her, but for Juliet. You know. And then like when that happened, like later on, like, oh, that was Juliet who ran out, I was like, oh, that makes sense, because previously like she still like had an incident, you know. So there's a lot of spoilers, but we already warned you guys.
Yeah, I would definitely say that was a very like it was like a really great way to like sort of get you curious about like what exactly happened at the very end, and to drop hints, to be honest, without making it super obvious. Because I did find it so weird that she had to relive the day as long as like Juliet died. Yeah. Like, I was like, wait, what? And then like when Juliet ran out into the forest, I was like, oh no. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
We were just like, oh. That was the part where we're like, oh.
Yeah, because like it was really strange when you first, like the first day, the first time, Julia just randomly comes to a party that she never goes to, and she just decides to tell like, you know, everyone that they suck, you're a bitch, you're like whatever, and then she just leaves. And obviously like the whole routine, like the first time, she has very legitimate reasons for like wanting to really hurt herself, because not only was she humiliated, she was like mocked, like she was like she had things thrown at her and everything, but like that I didn't get clued into that until she ran out. So I was like, whoa.
I think the screenwriters, not about the book because we didn't read it, but I think the screenwriters did a good job in making that portrayal like at the end. So like in the beginning we were still kind of like, you know, blindsided by what was going on, but I would have to say that the one reason why I really enjoy all like the reliving of the same day was the fact that Sam learned so much, you know, from like things that because like in the beginning, like I kind of actually didn't like her too much, because she seemed like a very passive girl. You know, she was in the it group, but yet she was just, she went along with whatever everyone else did. And it wasn't until that she was forced to relive her day that she started questioning, like, why are we mean to Juliet? Why are we doing this? Why am I mean to that guy? You know, like, what is all these reasons? And then it wasn't until then that she started questioning things, and I was just like, maybe you should have started questioning these things like a long time ago.
I mean, yeah, that's definitely true. It's just part of the story, really.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Like I don't really have much more to add to that.
But yeah, what did you think about the whole relationship thing too?
So in the movie itself, I'm actually kind of glad it wasn't really the main focus of a lot of her interactions. It was one of her like supposed like fulfillment / regrets, that she didn't realize it sooner, that like she should be with a guy who fully respects her for her. Versus like where her status is, where his status is. Like the person that she's paired with in the story, like Rob, right? He doesn't seem like an all-time jerk.
He just seemed like he was very into himself.
Yes, definitely. And like there was that particular like more raunchier scene where like she does end up fulfilling like exactly what like her day was supposed to be about. Like she ends up actually like coming into one, you know, with Rob. And then like, but the thing is that like at the end of it, like she didn't actually show Rob as like, oh, like I'm just gonna leave you, whatever. It just kind of like showed her crying and then talking to Kennedy. She realized
how much of a mistake that was.
Yeah, like she realized it for herself, regardless of like the guy's action, that it wasn't the right fit for her. Yeah. And I think that actually spoke to the power of the script itself, because generally it's like most of the time like what women are, like especially like female protagonists are always set in like this more passive role of like, oh, maybe it's because of reaction to like what the guy did, but no, like she genuinely was just portrayed as like a character who just realized she wasn't with the right guy, and she wondered like what happened, and she was crying because she was so sad that she wasted her life. I think the reason why she was crying so hard was that I think she always knew from the beginning that if she was reliving this day, she was probably dead. So in this particular case, I feel like when she was crying and like Kent came to comfort her, it was really that like she felt like she may have felt like she wasted her entire time, her entire life trying to like be what everyone else expected her to be. And she finally fulfilled it, and it wasn't what she wanted at all. So it was kind of like if you knew you were gonna die and you did what you thought you were supposed to do, and you realized it wasn't it. That's like such a waste of time.
Why I thought it was hilarious when she went from like drastically like I don't give a fuck status and was just like smeared in black, like eyeshadow, and like she was like you know, like literally yelling at everyone that she talked to like, no, I have to make this day worth it, to like, you know, play for baby sister and then like be nice to her mom and like all that stuff. I thought it was just really interesting to see like how she drastically went from one end to the other, and then like the next day or next day as you call it.
I mean, she has like the luxury to do it, right? Yeah, she's like no one else remembers. She could just do whatever she wanted. But yeah, I definitely say that like her emo phase, that kind of caught me off guard, to be honest.
I actually liked her emo phase because I was kind of like, this is the Yuko girl, you know, like the fact that she like went out and vented and ranted at everyone. I was kind of like, sometimes you need to do that, you know, like I feel like she was just so like that passively like nice girl. That was her role in this group of friends that she had. That like she never really had the chance to like speak her mind. Because it was always Lindsay that was speaking her mind. And even then, it was just like, and it was always like negative stuff, to be honest. Like, I mean, Lindsay, she sounds like a great friend for her friends, but like not a nice person to everyone else outside her group. So like, I mean, some people are like that, and I definitely I actually liked her emo side.
Okay, yeah, I mean, her emo side was definitely interesting. I commented during the movie. I was like, she should have been like that, like from the start.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, that particular day also really resonated with me because it was still very much about her, and it was near the beginning, middle of the film.
Yeah.
And so she didn't actually even go out of her way to really help Juliet still. And I thought that made sense because like a lot of it was like she was angry that she was being punished for like all like the bad things that like everyone else did too. Like it wasn't just her. And she like that was why she was angry. It was very like a self-centered message, and I'm kind of glad that as like a protagonist she didn't get away with it. She still had to like learn to make her day worth it for other people as well as for herself. Like there's that sort of balance that you kind of see her grow into as a character in regards to how much do I do for other people versus how much I do for myself. And so I think like the pacing of the film was really on top of it. Like that was great.
There are times when obviously days went by like this, and then there are times when it dragged on for like most, because I feel like the movie actually only showcase like a few actual vital days of her like relivement or whatever it is, and the other days were just like blurs, and I think that made sense. So like honestly, like end of the day, I really enjoy this book. I mean this movie, not the book. I don't think I'll pick up the book. Do you think you pick up the book still?
At the moment I don't have any desire to.
Okay, yeah, same. I feel like this is the one few cases where I feel like the movie was better than the book, but then again I didn't read the book. But at the same time, I feel like I didn't finish it for a reason. So
okay. No, I particularly just enjoyed the film for the film. I understand it was adapted from a story. I think that the story had a lot of meaning to it and definitely conveyed it appropriately on screen. So I would definitely recommend this to anyone. Overall, like the film itself had really great pacing, acting, scripts. Like the script writing was phenomenal. I would definitely say like particularly with like the ending scene, I am always going to be a little appreciative of the fact that it just didn't end on like a happy note, and it made sense that it didn't end on a happy note.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like books or movies where they're kind of forced to have a happy note at the end, because like I mean if it doesn't make sense, obviously. If it makes sense, then like, and I think for this case it really made sense. So I, even though the ending wasn't the best ending in terms of outcome, but I think it really portrayed like the overall.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a spoiler, but the fact that she couldn't convince someone else out of their decision, and the fact that that was kind of like what caused the resolution.
Only thing that she can do is change her her decisions and her actions, and that's what she did, and that's what ended up saving the day, or
at least making things right.
But yeah, anyways, that's it for our reaction about the movie. Let us know if you had read the book or if you didn't, watch the movie, etc. Let us know what your comments are below. Very interested in hearing about it.
So we also have a Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram presence in which we post bookish related content and reviews for everyone, and we also are on Google Play and iTunes in terms of podcasts, so if you want to listen to us on the go, please do.
Yep, and that's it. Thank you guys.
Alright, bye.
Bye.